jerk. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Jim Ziegler, Alpha Dog. Got Craig Farmer and Laura Hayes from CF Search Marketing. And so has some technical difficulties, Alpha Dog stupidity, but we're going to be good right now. Okay, so what we're doing right now is we're talking to CF Search Marketing. What happened to Craig? He jumped out on us? Put him back in.
He'll click back in.
There he is.
Yeah.
Handsome guy with an afro.
Nice hair. Your hair looks really good today, Craig. What'd you do?
I'm sorry, say again?
Your hair looks beautiful today. What did you do?
Oh, thank you. It's a new product, new type of mousse that I've been trying out. It's fantastic. It's got my yeah.
That really looks good.
How's everyone doing?
We're having a great time. Finally got the technical glitches worked out. It's called Alpha Dog's a Jerk. I mean, I had some switches turned off. It wasn't my speakers, but I'm learning this new technology. Okay, first of all, we're talking to Craig Farmer and Laura Hayes from CF Search Marketing. Featured speaker at Battle Plan, Mr. Craig Farmer. Craig, tell us a little bit about yourself. One thing about CF Search Marketing, you both have retail experience, don't you?
Very much so. I've been into business good. I guess really technically starting at a dealership level back in 2007. From 2007 to 2012, I had a Highlight independent store. Sold anywhere on the low end from 80 to 85 to the high end, 120 cars a month. We ended up purchasing a Mitsubishi franchise in the final 2 years before we sold the company. I went to, after that place was called Arena Motor Group, and again, it was Highline Specialty. We had about 185 cars in stock at our peak. Sold cars all over the United States. In fact, sold a young gentleman in Alaska. He was on a Coast Guard base. We sold him a Lamborghini. In the dead of winter in Alaska, the kid was 25 years old, never lived off the Coast Guard base, saved up all his money. And I said, "You sure you want to buy a $180,000 car?" He's like, "I want to be the only one in Alaska that has a Lamborghini." Turns out, I think he was like the second or third guy. But anyway, we shipped the car to Seattle. This was all the way back in about 2010. So we shipped the car to Seattle. From Seattle, it was on a boat all the way up to Anchorage, Alaska. At that point in time is when really everybody, myself included at the dealership, really understood the importance of good internet marketing and how vast, automotive shoppers really can be. We were based out of Baltimore, Maryland at the time. And, the logistics behind getting a Lamborghini and closed carrier to Seattle, then on a boat to Anchorage, Alaska, was a lot of work. But we had a good run. Ultimately, the main dealer principal sold the company, and I went to work for a auto group, again, another auto group in the Baltimore, Maryland area called Priority One. Another Highline group. We had still do. We have 3 BMW dealerships, Audi dealership. At a small point in time, they had a Maserati dealership, and of course, Porsche of Towson. Very successful Porsche store.
You've got some retail experience.
Yep. And then lastly, before starting with CF, I was with the Len Solar Auto Group. They had everything from Lexus and Porsche, Hyundai, CDJR, Ford, Chevy. It's probably easier to say what they don't have. BMW and Toyota in New York. And that was a pretty large group. Huge ad budgets, both on traditional and digital side. But anyway, I kind of got lured away from the dealership side of things after a good 10-year run to come over to the vendor side. I've known and used CF Search Marketing at both groups successfully for quite some time.
Yeah, we're going to talk about CF Search Marketing in a minute. So you've been with them how long?
Really just started with these guys. I've been with them it'll be about 2 months now. So, but again, I've used them. I've known Laura.
you're fresh out of retail.
Fresh out of retail, as fresh as you can get, Jim. Yes, sir.
That's the point I'm making. Laura, have you ever sold a car? You ever been in a dealership? You know, you're a girl.
Shocking. It's shocking. So, yes, I worked in trucking and busing for almost 20 years. Prior to that, I bartended for years while I put myself through college. So, yeah, automotive doesn't scare me. I've been through some pretty crazy things working as a bartender. Up here in Pennsylvania, I actually also worked at rod and gun clubs. So I know a lot of people aren't going to know what those are, but they're fishing and firearms. And those types of clubs in Pennsylvania are allowed to be open 24 hours a day. So I would start my shifts there at 2:30 in the morning when the bars closed. So trust me, I've seen some interesting things. And from bartending to trucking, and then moved over to working inside of a dealer group here in the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. Worked there for 6 years. Actually started working there as a human resource manager.
You're getting a little echo. Back one.
Maybe try this.
No problem. We're very formal here. This is just a fun little broadcast.
Is that better?
Much better.
Okay.
So you were in a dealership, and what dealership did you work?
Brown Daub in the Lehigh Valley.
I know Tom Daub.
Tom Daub. I just saw him. He's awesome. He's an awesome.
You're getting a lot of reverb.
It was fine for a minute, and now all of a sudden it's gone kooky again. Not sure why.
Now you're back. Yeah. See, okay. I know Tom Daub real well.
Yes, I worked for Brown Daub for 6 years. Yeah, the Brown Daub organization was amazing to work with. If it wasn't for the wait, I'm not sure I'd be qualified to do this job research market.
Hey, Laura, we're just breaking on your audio. Craig, speak again.
Been happy with the decision to come over and join the CF Search marketing team.
Okay, you're not getting the reverb. I got to believe it's on Laura's set.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's much better. Yeah,
Hey, Laura, maybe try turning your speakers down, Laura. That might help.
Yeah, that's what I just did.
Yeah, your speaker's a little too loud. They're coming back on your microphone. Okay, so back to Laura. Now, I want to hear this the story. You were at Brown Daub.
Yep, so I worked at Brown Daub, and I worked for, Tom Daub was one of the owners of the store I was located in, and also Frank Garancer, who just retired, but Frank Garancer was an amazing dealer principal and let me get involved in every single aspect of the dealership. He gave me all the time I wanted to learn in every aspect of his operation. So learning the dock, service was huge. We had an amazing service and parts director. Our sales and service worked really well together. Our office staff was amazing. So I was able to figure out really quickly how the whole dealership works together, because it's not just one piece. It doesn't work unless all the pieces are working in harmony. So, and then I was working there for a while. I went through many vendors when I took over the marketing. We had an in-house advertising agency. We then took everything out with vendors, and then I took everything back in-house again. When I started looking for digital vendors, I went through 3 or 4 vendors till I found CF. They were the first vendor that the person who was in front of me knew exactly what they understood me, they understood marketing. They weren't just a report person. If I asked them to do something, I knew that it was going to get done by the next meeting. Everything was exactly the way I asked it to be. I was so impressed with them that eventually I came to work for them. And I've been here 3 years. So I'm the director of account management for the East Coast.
What I wanted to do on this show was stress you out of reach. Some vendors have no concept of retail. They didn't do what you've done. So,
yeah, and you know what? It's flooded with
tell us a little bit about CF Search marketing.
CF Search, basically full scale, full service digital marketing agency focused solely on the automotive vertical. We do have a sister company or brother company, if you will, in Carrera Marketing, which is a full service traditional agency. But CF Search Marketing handles everything from SEO, SEM, all your traditional types of digital marketing everybody's into, retargeting, display channels, dealership, BDC consulting, web care. We're partnered with FCA, so we're one of their premier partners. We do a lot, obviously, with CDJR stores. We have 2 offices, one in New England and one in South Florida. It gives us the ability to stay in good contact with all of our dealers. Our agency operates a little differently. All agencies today, and there's some really good ones out there, are very hands-on. CF Search Marketing likes to separate itself from some of the other guys by having as many in-face monthly meetings as we possibly can with the dealers. Laura's one of the national account directors. She's in charge of one team, and then her counterpart Jason is in charge of another team. But as you ask around to a lot of our dealers, they'll tell you that at least once a month, if not every other month, there's somebody from CF Search Marketing that's in the dealership, feeling the kind of the gauging the temperature, if you will, the vibe, the overall environment, the culture, to feel exactly what's the best digital marketing fit. Everything changes. This industry is very fluid, both on the vendor side as well as the dealership side. So to be able to make changes kind of on the fly is super important. And one of the reasons that I've personally always used CF Search Marketing at a lot of the dealer groups that I've been in is precisely because the accountability. It's always easier to hold somebody's feet to the fire when they're right there in front of you versus over the phone.
Well, what kind of services do you offer? You're sort of telling us what you have. Tell me what you do.
Okay, so everything from full-scale SEO, SEM, paid search services. We've managed budgets on the smaller scale, say $500, to budgets that for some smaller rooftops their entire marketing budget for the year would take up just one pay-per-click budget from some of our larger groups at one location.
Let me ask you, Laura. Are you back? Let's hear.
I'm here.
Let's hear your audio.
Am I good?
Yeah, you're real good.
Perfect.
Pick up where he left off.
Sure thing. So as far as managing PPC campaigns, we have proprietary software that helps kind of aggregate all the data. It basically cycles through every 24 hours. Our SEM team gets a report every afternoon that we use to constantly improve our dealer clients' SEM performance. So I like to think that our SEM programs are some of the best out there. We have a fantastic SEO team. Our SEO, everybody's got good SEO today. At least I would like to think so. So CF Search Marketing's SEO programs. Yeah, that's true.
Well,
I'm trying to be polite to some of the
SEO companies. And listen, this isn't about bashing. Honestly, there's a lot of agencies out there that have been around and also that are cropping up, since with traditional marketing agencies, which is what most dealers used for many, many years. They were your local agency. They're losing a lot of business. As we know, most people are.
There are some great SEO, SEM companies, and there's some real crap being fed to the dealers too, to tell you the truth. And we're not here to sugarcoat that, and I'm not going to name any people.
Right.
But maybe I will. But you know me.
Yeah, well, there's every traditional agency out there is starting up digital, and they're not experts. Right. And quite honestly, even if they found an expert at it, they're subbing it out, so they're not in house. So when you talk to these reps when they come in, They're not able to even they don't know it. They don't know how to run AdWords. They don't know how to do SEO. They don't understand it themselves to be able to properly give that information to the team that's actually doing it for them. So that's the biggest, thing that's happening nowadays is besides in automotive, there's tons of vendors, but now there's a million more cropping up. Every single newspaper is now selling AdWords and selling SEO and selling social media. And of course, they're not automotive specific. They're usually outsourcing to another third party. So, with us, what really, and this will, for Ziegler, who likes to always say, don't trust a vendor's metrics. And we totally agree with that. And not in a bad way. I agree with that in a positive way because from being, obviously I'm a vendor, but we don't run our stuff through our CF system. I mean, we have systems, don't get me wrong, but we don't run it through our system and then show you our system and that's the results. I mean,
well, Laura,
we give you Google Analytics.
If you guys weren't good, I wouldn't be associated with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The CEO of TrueCar, when I was at war with TrueCar a couple of years back, Scott Painter, the former CEO of TrueCar, sat across the table and said, we thought of buying you off, but we knew it couldn't be done, which I thought was one of the greatest compliments I ever had, because there are so many people, you mentioned the metrics, there's so many companies out there today touting bad vendors because they're paid under the table to do that.
Yeah.
So I always say, figures lie when liars figure.
100%. You know what, Jim? I've had many, and listen, and every one of your reps has this happen. I get a lot of third-party companies that are, they're great companies, don't get me wrong, but they'll say to me, can you get me into some of your accounts? I got this product, and and then they'll say, we can give you a kickback for every dealer you bring on. And this is my exact response to that is, I'll bring you into one of my dealers if your product is worth it for the success of my dealership. I will never take $1, even if I do sign on one of my clients to your product. I'll do it strictly if it's the best thing for my client. Bottom line is I'm accountable for my client's success in every aspect, even if it's a service product that, I will not offer a product or suggest a product to my clients if I'm never going to take, you can guarantee I'm never taking a payment. I'm not saying it doesn't happen out there, but I don't do it. I just will not do it because whatever $200, $300 here, there is not worth me losing the trust of my client. It's not going to happen.
I'll tell you what, any vendor that's recommended by a manufacturer is generally crap.
Yes.
So.
Especially SEO, SEM.
It's.
I know I'm striking kind of hard there, and I don't mean to strike like that, but still.
Well, listen, Jim, I was a dealer. So, I was a dealer, and I was there when a certain OEM first started their digital program. And, at the time, they gave us money that the dealer, it wasn't part of our co-op. It was free, a free extra pool of digital money, and we got to choose from 3 vendors. I went through 2 of the 3 vendors, and really, I got nothing worthwhile. When every single, it's good to have competition. And when there are vendors who can, will hang their hat on the fact that you have no choice but to choose them, and then you won't get that great service unless you demand it. It's, nowadays with some of these OEMs, and a lot more OEMs are opening up these certified programs to more and more vendors. So dealers are getting, even though they're in the program, are getting more and more choice. So listen, the more competition between us vendors, the better we're going to perform for you. That's just a general statement, but I have to also say, we don't just ride on the fact that we're a Chrysler certified provider. You still have many other choices, and more so than you did last year.
So much corruption in the manufacturer side. They finally opened it up. Some real legitimate companies are getting the co-op. In the past, anybody that was on co-op was basically corrupt, in my opinion. Did I say my opinion? My opinion. There's a lot of corruption in the manufacturers programs. But I I see now where a couple of the vendors that I respect are getting in on the co-op. So it's making a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it makes it. Here's the thing is about the co-op, a lot of these co-op programs. You know, the dealer still absolutely can hold your vendor accountable. 100%. You have the right to see it. Just because you sign up with a vendor that's on a program, that doesn't mean set it and forget it. And it doesn't mean it's okay if they don't answer your questions, do what you ask them to do, and get to know you. You can still insist on that happening. We do that automatically. That's what we do. But if you have another vendor, don't think just because you're in a co-op program, you have to accept crap. You don't. You are still paying them. They are still your vendor. We say to our clients all the time, and yes, we respect our relationship with Chrysler, but we are here because you chose us, not because Chrysler chose us.
No.
Chose us. And we want to keep that relationship going. We'll do anything to keep that going.
Now, Craig is going to be your speaker at Internet Battle Plan.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Looking forward to that.
They're entrusting me not to embarrass the company too much. So this should be fun.
I did it last time, and I didn't even have a heads up. So Christina was supposed to be the speaker, and I got to tell you, Jim. So years ago, I used to do public speaking. Not public speaking, but I spoke a lot at associations for busing, and it was something that I was real passionate about, and I understood, and I was speaking to my peers, and I was always nervous, but I did a decent job of it. But then I haven't spoken in so long. When Christina had asked me to take her place at your conference, I think I went into panic mode. I was so scared because I hadn't spoken publicly. I hadn't spoken publicly. Obviously, I speak all the time for my clients, and I am very open and friendly, but getting up on a stage is a whole nother level of speaking. So I had actually called Matt Koenig, and I said, Matt, I need some advice. I'm nervous about doing Ziegler's conference, and he gave me such, great pep talks about the whole thing. And then I did it, and I was super excited about the whole thing. So now I got the bug.
I got to tell you, I have personally spoken hundreds of times in front of thousands of people, and I am scared to death every time I get on stage.
Yeah.
You never get over that.
I would never have thought that of you. You don't look at one bit.
No, I mean, it's amazing because I do such a casual style of speaking, and I'm a CSP. I'm a certified speaking professional. That's the highest in the organization, but still, I just signed. I'm doing a speech February 2nd in San Antonio, Texas, and I'm being paid 5 digits for a 1-hour speech, and these people called me. I have basically gotten away from doing a lot of that, but when you're a 5-digit speaker, you have to say, "Hey, I better be good."
It's funny that obviously people are willing to pay you to speak. So people have heard you before and you're worth that, but you still get nervous. That's actually a good thing for me to hear because I get that way. It's surprising to hear that you say you feel that way too.
The secret of not getting nervous doing a speech is to have word for word your intro and your outro. If you have the first 1 minute of your speech memorized, you can go.
I'm writing that down, Jim.
What's that?
I said I'm writing that tip down.
Always have the first minute or two of your speech memorized and the last couple minutes memorized. Because what happens is all the nervousness in a speech is in the first 2 minutes. So if you've got that memorized, once you get past it, you're freestyling and you're fine.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I didn't do that. I tried to, go through my entire speech and was micromanaging the whole thing in my head and so nervous. And once I got through the beginning, it's funny, I didn't even get through like the other half of my speech because I just started, and I was just going on, and people were asking questions, and you were super engaging, which was so relieving for me. I loved that.
Did I help you?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. You asking me questions. It turned it into a conversation. I think when people are just being dictated things, they lose interest sometimes. A lot of these conferences where you just sit in a stuffy room and it's just ba 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 ba, So it was great. It's like and there was other people asking questions too. So it was really awesome having a dialogue with your audience.
That was calculated. The secret of speaking too is to speak to different people. Don't speak to the broad audience. Speak to individuals in the audience.
Exactly.
Pick out a friendly face and act like you're having a one-on-one conversation with a friendly face in the audience, and then move from left to right, right to left to center, to front to back, so you're talking to everybody in the audience.
Some great advice.
I was doing a speech in Boston 10 years ago, 15 years ago maybe, and somebody said, "Mr. Ziegler, why are you wearing 2 watches?" And I said, "This is a Timex with a big white dial so I can read it without my glasses. So this is a Timex so I can see it, and this is a Rolex so you can see it."
That's great.
You gotta have some humor in the whole thing. Now, Craig, I am excited that you guys are coming to Internet Battle Plan. Let's talk about Internet Battle Plan before we get back to CF Search Marketing in a second.
Absolutely.
Clearwater, Florida.
Excited to be leaving the frozen tundra of Baltimore and heading down to the sunny beaches of the west, the Gulf Coast of Florida. I attended the last Internet Battle Plan, which when was it? September? That
was in August.
August. Fantastic speakers. The dealers that attended. The dealers that are attending are always very attentive, always willing to learn. The other co-speakers that cover the topics that they cover are always cutting edge. Everybody gets something out of the Internet Battle Plan, even from at the highest level for maybe folks like myself that were in an executive director's position. All the way down to maybe somebody who just got promoted from sales to an internet manager position.
I've got 20 speakers on stage, and I'm telling you, it's the best cast of characters I've ever put together, including you.
Oh, thank you.
I've got more experts. And what I did is I put different people on stage this time. Did you notice?
Yes, I did. And you actually have a couple of, yes, 100%. I did notice that. And you got a couple of other people that I've heard speak before, not in quite some time. They're going to be speaking at this event. And I think anybody who is on the fence about should I attend, attend. 100% attend. Because some of the folks that are going to speak at this event aren't necessarily out there on that same speaking tour that you're going to see the same automotive faces that you've seen for the same 10 years, going over the same regurgitated content.
Hey, Craig, I call it Groundhog Day.
Yes.
You've seen the movie. Excuse me. Leonardo DiCaprio freezes to death. And the girl gets old and she throws the gem in the ocean. She dies. She turns into a ghost. She gets back with Leonardo, and Celine Dion sings the song. We've seen the movie.
We know how it ends. The boat hits an iceberg, right?
Seriously, some of these speakers have been on stage so many times, and I was starting to repeat them. And they're great speakers. They have great content, but we've heard it.
Yeah.
It's the same old movie. Yes. And I wanted to put some new people on stage in Internet Battle Plan with new information, like yourself.
Well, thank you. And I noticed my good friend, I'm going to give a quick plug here. My friend Patrick McCullen from Max Digital is going to be.
Do you know Patrick?
Yes, I do. I've used Max Digital. Well, First Look, Max Digital. They kind of go by 2 different names depending on the services that you hire. But I've used them at 2 different auto groups. They're a fantastic company. Patrick's a tremendous speaker. And the nice thing, just like what you're going to hear from many of your guest speakers, including myself, is key takeaways. When I talk to the crowd, I want people to basically fill up an entire page or 2 pages of a notebook of key takeaways that they can go back and be like, you know what? I listened to this guy, Craig Farmer something or another, or Patrick something or another, and he gave me these 10 tips that I think could really benefit the day-to-day operations here at our dealership. Because that's what it's all about. It's about going home with actionable items that you may not have heard before that you can deploy at your dealership and actually see good results. That's what it's about.
Got to be usable and doable.
Yeah, and you know what? And I have to say this: that some of the best things that I've ever taken away from conferences is not what I hear in the speeches. It's the relationships that I get to build. You know, you're going to trust your family and you're going to trust your friends. And if you can build relationships with people that are vendors or vice versa. I mean, I have a lot of dealer friends. They're not our clients, but they're still my friend. You know, and they'll call me for some advice and this, that, or maybe they're not the decision maker. So, you know, and that's fine. But I definitely still, I'm out there for them to pick my brain. I pick their brain. I mean, let's face it. I'm, you know, I'm 3 years removed from the dealership now. I'm technically, you know, over 10 years removed from being a blind consumer. Although I have to say, that's probably one of the most valuable things I brought into marketing in the dealership at first was, you know, I had this blind, I was blind to the dealership side, which really helped me to bring in some really creative things that sometimes the dealers get used to, the like, throw out the low lease special and that's going to get us sell us cars. And it's like, it's more than that. Trust me, your consumers don't necessarily always believe that number anyways. So there's got to be more to your marketing than just having the lowest lease price. Let's face it, everybody can buy a Jeep at every single Jeep dealership from here to Timbuktu.
I do not need you to own a Jeep.
You don't what?
I don't need you to own a Jeep.
Right.
I can buy a Jeep anywhere.
Yes. Right. And that's, you know, and that's, you know, those are some of the things that we had changed in our marketing. It was like, you know, don't get me wrong, the price, it matters. The price matters. Absolutely. People, you know, do care about the price, but if the price is not going to do like set you apart, and make me want to maybe drive further, to come to your dealership, you got to give me other reasons than just the price. You just have to.
Okay.
So Jim, did you want to cover the dates again, just for those?
Okay, I think it's going to be the 12th, 13th of February, Clearwater, Florida. Now, can you hear me pretty good, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, I've adjusted the microphone just a bit here. It's going to be www.internetbattleplan.com. Craig, you want to type that on the screen? www.internetbattleplan.com. Put that in the chat if you would. I see Craig has been chatting with the people. We got Chris Hill on. Hey, Chris. Internetbattleplan.com. And the phone number, if somebody wants to talk to me directly, is 352-775-2174. And dealer principals and general managers are free. You talk about the lineup. Have you seen that I've got Frank Lopes on the program? I've got Chris Hayes, listen to that. I'm looking at Laura Hayes' name. Chris Hill from Overtake Digital's going to be on the program. We've got Matt Kinney. You mentioned him earlier. Matt's going to be closing with a synopsis. And, 20 speakers on stage over 2 days. That is incredible. Every aspect of internet sales and marketing.
I'm really excited about the lineup you have. Even just being vendors, and again, it's nice that in your format we get to be in the room with the speakers, because at all these other conferences I'm in the hall, so I don't get to go to all these classes. So it's always great that I get to sit there and interact and see what your speakers are saying. A lot of very inspirational people. It's really exciting. It's a great setup.
And we got the band.
Yes. The band's getting together.
I have hired a band that's a local Ocala, Florida band where I live. And the band is called the Band Foreplay. And the vocalist is astounding. She is amazing. The guitarist is amazing. The drummer, every one of them are great musicians.
What kind of music do they play?
They're a biker bar band.
So just so I know what to wear, I'll wear my leather.
No. They're probably going to be in suits.
Actually, no. We should encourage.
They have a wide range of what they play. Trust me. You know, I mean, they are just great. But I love these guys. I mean, first time I heard them, I fell in love with their music, and I hired them to speak at Internet Battle Plan Cocktail Reception, brought to you by the people at Dealer Teamwork.
Yay, Dealer Teamwork. It'll
That's
be
a five-digit sponsorship. Sean Stapleton wrote the big check, sponsoring the band and the cocktail party. So we got
so what's Tom dressing up as? What's Big Tom's get up?
I don't know if Big Tom's going to be dressing as a Spartan warrior or what. I have no idea. You white painting green and make him a vegetable can. You know, I don't know.
I don't know where it is, but I actually have his samurai sword from the fight that he did at Matt's at Rockstar Conference. Yeah, it's he gave it to me to give to my son. So the thing is hard as a rock. There's been many lumps in my daughter's head because of it. So if Tom's listening, thank you so much. But my son loves that thing. But it was quite funny bringing that through, TSA. They were like, "What's in your bag?" I'm like, a practice samurai sword.
And then he broke all those bricks.
And then almost his hand or his wrist.
Hey, listen, everybody that's listening to this broadcast, make some remark in the chat box so we know you're here. Everybody check in right now. Even if you checked in previously, just put something in the chat box to let us know you're on the broadcast, because there's been quite a few in and out. Now, we've also got Bill Wittenmeyer from eLead One. Now, Bill and I argue about millennials all the time. I have made some millennial jokes that got some people a little upset. I said most millennials live on their parents' couch in the basement playing Xbox. Hello? Lord of
I'm sorry, I was reading comments. I missed that. I was sharing the post.
most millennials live in their parents' basement on the couch playing Xbox.
Yeah, see, my Xbox is over there. Actually, I'm not a millennial. I'm actually 42 years old, so I don't think I'm considered a millennial.
Oh, wow. Jeff Glacken said that fishing and firearms and pretty barmaids, he's all for it.
Yeah, tell the Glack that he needs to get. Glack needs to get down to Glack needs to get down to the Internet Battle Plan this time. I think we missed him the last go round, and he needs to get down there.
I see Linda Jagney's on the post. She got that brand new baby. Ernie Lee, hello Ernie. Jeff Ramey. Tina McCandis, Craig Farmer, he's on the broadcast. Wendell Hardy's here. Susie Peeler, hello Susie Peeler. Chip Dorman, Louis John Maniscalesco. We got a bunch of people in this broadcast. Jason Grace. If you're on the broadcast, Joe Healy's here. Mike Huff, a lot of people out there. So Internet Battle Plan. Laura, what was your biggest takeaway from the last Internet Battle Plan Teach at the Beach?
The funny thing is, it was with Matt Koenig when he had everybody get this. And it's not even like a big takeaway, but it's my big relationships takeaway. When he had everybody get up and did the selfies. There's some people at conferences you don't get a moment to meet. Things get hectic, get busy. You talk to people, you're running from here to there and stuff. And, when Matt did that, I had all these selfies and I start finding those people and tagging them. And of course we run into each other during the conference, but sometimes you don't get connections that way. And so I had all these selfies and I was able to connect with all these people. So now all these people are my friends. So all these people that I met at your conference are now, I'm connected with on Facebook and, we message each other. To me, like I said, the relationships are a huge takeaway for me.
Amazing you would mention that. The first time Matt Koenig did the selfies was in Atlanta last year at the Winter Conference. And when he started doing that, I said, oh, what the hell is he doing? I got upset. And then I saw how good it was and how many people were into it. It was amazing. I said, my gosh, what a great idea. And I had to say, forgive me for even thinking that. But
yeah, I mean, think about it. That's all those people, they take their picture with you, Jim, and then they tag you. And, I know you're really good about knowing everybody that's in your room. So, you are. So you know the name of and the history of everybody. Not all of us have that wealth of knowledge of everybody who's around and in the industry and been around as long. So, and there's some people that aren't as open to just walking up and personally connecting with people. So that selfie thing was, I took selfies with people I probably wouldn't have maybe had a moment to talk to, but now we have a selfie together, and then they're tagging themselves, and then they become my friend, and now we do know each other. And now when I see them at another conference or see them around, I'm like, hey, and I'm a big hugger. So I just, if I recognize you and know you, I'm going to hug you. Ask Craig, by meeting two, I hug you.
Well, I got to tell you, Craig, this is Battle Plan 23.
It's amazing.
So, Mike Hoff said, explain the selfies. So, Mike, so basically during the conference, Matt has his time to speak, and then he has everybody stand up, vendors and all the attendees at the conference stand up, and then he times you maybe 2 minutes, and he says, in 2 minutes, I want you to run around and take a selfie with every single person in the room that you can in 2 minutes, and see who gets the most selfies taken. So it's like a mad dash. Everybody's around, selfie, 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 selfie. And now you have like selfies with every single person in the room, or at least, a huge percentage of them. It's really fun. So that's what that's all about. He had asked what that was about.
Phenomenal. It's just really all about the engagement between the attendees with one another, attendees with the vendors, obviously, attendees with the man himself, the Alpha Dog.
Yeah.
Fist bump. Big fist bump. Big fist bump. Where's my camera? I'm all. There you go.
Laura, you said something earlier. You said about me memorizing the people.
Yeah.
I don't know how I do that, but I was in Cleveland about 6 years ago. I had 150 people in the audience, and 20 minutes into the seminar, I named them all back to themselves.
That's crazy.
I mean,
that is crazy.
I have to remember to do that. I can't just do it unless I plan to do it in advance. But when I plan to do it, I meet the people at the door, memorize their name, and I said, you're Craig Farmer, you're Laura Hayes, you're Matt Keenan. I named every one of them to themselves.
That's amazing. I get that sometimes. I look at a face and I'm like, I know you. I can't place the name. What's the name? I wish I had a perfect memory like that.
Well, I'll tell you, I love doing that. Speaking is what I'm all about. I've taught many people to be speakers, and I ran the speaking school for the National Speakers Association, Georgia. I ran our speaking school for new speakers, and a lot of the speakers I've taught have become very successful. Now, Craig, a little more about your speech. CF Search Marketing. Your company does advertising. Are you doing all digital, or are you doing a traditional?
Well, we do have a sister brother company in Carrera Advertising that is a full-blown traditional, nationwide traditional ad agency. They work with some extremely large groups, large-scale television commercials, year-long advertising plans and campaigns. But the CF side of the business, CF Search is its own company, which is strictly focused on digital marketing and all the facets contained therein. My speech is going to be broken down into a couple different parts, kind of like the 4 food groups, if you will. We're going to focus on, it's not going to be very one-on-one level. Most of your attendees, Jim, at your conference are pretty well educated. You got a good group of people in there that know what they're doing. So we'll keep it pretty high level, but We're really going to get into a lot about social media spends, whether or not you're actually spending on social media, not just posting on social media, but actually having a full-blown paid campaign on social media channels. I personally believe that in 2018, you're going to see social media campaigns as far as the budgets. I think your paid social campaigns are going to start to eclipse some things with Google. I mean, Google's going to have to be very very attentive to what the big boys over at Facebook are doing. So many people are consuming media on their social channels. Even Waze, you know, when people are driving around, they're using social media to get to and fro these days. So there's so many different places to put your digital dollars to work for you. We're going to really talk about that. We're going to compartmentalize things so the attendees can kind of get not overwhelmed, but can kind of break things down into little sections and chunks. That way, when they take things back and they want to try to deploy them themselves, they can, you know, have an easier time to kind of remember everything that was covered. But we're going to talk about some things with some changes that Google has done as it applies to you know, their big Hummingbird update that went on back in that was about a year ago or so. But there's been some smaller changes that Google has made along the ways, especially now with their new release of the departments. So quick tidbit, any guys listening and girls, if you guys haven't gone in and claimed your department, so if you have a Ford store or, you know, well, any dealership really, with the exception, there's a couple that are Google is still trying to figure out what to do when they have multiple rooftops. But basically, you're now going to be able to display your service and your parts hours separately from your showroom hours. So it's about time that in 2018, Google finally caught up to that, because many dealerships, their service drives will open at 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. Sales may not open up until, say, 9 o'clock. Also, up in the Northeast, especially like Long Island and New York stores, their service drives stay open very, very late, you know, 11, 12 o'clock in the morning. So to be able to display the hours properly is extremely important for those departments within the dealerships. We'll touch on that. We covered social media. We're going to talk about what it's like to, if you have a decent sized SEM budget, what a really good and well-written SEM ad contains, with various extensions and so on and so forth. But I think the real the juicy stuff that I think that we're going to, not I think, but the juicy stuff that I know we're going to go over is really going to pertain to some tricks that you can deploy. Not so much tricks, but I guess better ways to utilize your digital dollars when some social media spend. Some places where you'll find that other dealerships may not be fishing in those ponds yet, and the dealers that are leaps and bounds ahead of the dealers who are not. So it should be a good 45-minute session. But I think that just about all the speakers that you have on your list, Jim, have. I've been, you know, I'm looking over the Internet Battle Plan almost daily, because you're constantly updating things. I know everybody's pretty much locked in now, but you've got some really, really heavy hitting folks that are going to be up on stage. You really do. So
and who would you go to hear if besides yourself, besides me, besides, well, Laura's not speaking at this one, but who would you go to hear?
I said it a little earlier ago, but Patrick from Max Digital, he has got some really, really good touch points. And Laura touched on this herself even. She said it. She basically was like, you don't always sell a car via the price. And, you know, I'm not going to say the one company that's out of Atlanta that none of us really care for too much, but the whole, you know, race to the bottom thing. The reason I personally deployed Max Digital and their software at all the dealer groups that I've been at recently is because when used properly, the salespeople aren't necessarily just selling off of price. They're selling off of the value of the car. And I know Patrick's really going to do a good job about informing your audience about what it's like to actually sell the value of the product and not just the price.
One of my better friends works for that company. Do you know Ben Friedman?
I know Ben Friedman very well. Yes, I do.
I love
I've
Ben.
known those,
Great guy.
yeah, I've known those guys for 6 or 7 years now, and they've got some great technology that they utilize. I've actually been to their headquarters in Chicago. They're just a good team, and Patrick, when he speaks, whether you use his company or not, he's going to give you some really good key takeaways that any dealership could benefit from. So to answer your question, I think he's going to be he would be one guy that I would definitely want to sit down and get a good notebook.
What about
pen.
Jason Gardner? You know Jason?
I do.
Yeah, he's going to be doing Facebook marketing to text.
Yep.
That probably overlaps your area a little bit, but he's a character.
Yeah, he's a good guy for sure.
And we got Koenig. I'm going over the people in my mind. We've got
Anthony Alagona. I'm excited to hear him speak.
Very much so.
Who's that?
Absolutely.
Anthony Alagona.
Anthony Alagona is one of the best phone trainers in the world for phone and BDC, and he's the absolute best in New Jersey.
Yes, I'm excited to hear him speak, no doubt.
Yeah, all the other phone trainers in New Jersey come up short.
Yeah, just think about that, Jim.
Who could that be?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Anthony Alagona. I love Anthony. He's a great friend. Bill Wittenmeyer from eLead is going to be talking about millennials, like I said, and millennial marketing, and I'm always kidding him about millennials. We've got from Zmont, we've got Eric Gale. He's going to be talking about executive, high level, how he put together the number 2 internet company in the world. Now he's kind of interesting because he has a vendor side and he's got a dealership side. He's going to be doing that's presentation. We've got LotLinks on stage.
Speaking of LotLinks, Jim, I got an email this morning from LotLinks inviting me to your conference.
Did you really?
I did. I'll forward it to you so you can see.
Oh yeah, well that probably came from Hannah Lifson.
It was actually, I think, like a bulk email from LotLinks.
Oh, I'm telling you, I appreciate them no end. Now we TrueCar, we got Carrie Reese Wise, and I'm sort of proud of TrueCar. We've moved TrueCar quite a bit from. I was going to war with them 3-4 years ago. I mean, I brought them to their knees with social media, but then they've come back and they're more dealer friendly now than they've ever been. Not the highest grossing deal in the world, but you will get a deal. And we talk about that. I'm trying to think who else we got. Help me out. Who else is
Let's
speaking?
see. We got Jacoby there. We got Jason.
Who is that?
Jason Gardner.
Yeah, Jason. We talked about Jason.
We've got Timmy James from Flick Fusion.
Oh, golly, Timmy James, one of the best in the world. Well, how can I forget Timmy? Timmy James from Flick Fusion. We got the people from Intel. Oh, golly, Gary Graves. I'm trying to think that.
We've got the folks from Dealer Teamwork. You mentioned them earlier. They're going to be in there. Udo from.
That's some really great technology.
Matt Koenig.
Yeah, Udo with his company up there.
Udo from Puck Digital.
Puck Digital. Where are those guys out of? They're up there they're in Wisconsin or somewhere like that, I think.
Yeah, they're in Wisconsin, and it's an in dealership based product. They developed it in real dealerships. I mean, these guys are great. They've got some really great technology, and it's convincing text, convincing script, convincing. My head spins when I start thinking of the power we're putting on this stage. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I mean, you guys talked about Anthony Alagona earlier. I mean, where can you go We're going to be in so there's a lot of people that attend this, but it's not like this monster mega conference. So you're going to get potential, I don't want to, you're going to get some really good phone training out of this, So for any dealer principal that's like, should I send your team, send them. It will return in gross.
So I gotta say something along that lines. No doubt, send your team. I mean, you got, like I said, people like Anthony are gonna go through, processes inside your BDC. But I have to say, every successful process in a dealership has to start at the very top. So you can send your BDC all you want to these conferences and teach them phone scripts and number of phone calls and quick response and all that other stuff. If management is not on that same program, it all does fall apart. So, I mean, that's proven. So you need to have your sales managers, your GMs, your dealer principals there.
Dealers are
When they
free.
know what to inspect, when they know what to expect of the staff. Oh, there goes Pete. You need to have your sales manager. Once they know what to inspect, you're going to be more successful. Let me get my dog.
No, she's fine. Hey, dealer principals and general managers are free. Dealer principals.
I just typed that into the comments. Yeah, Laura brings up an excellent point. Not sure here. I think my screen may have locked up, but Laura brings in a great point. I mean, at the end of the day, if there isn't buy-in to whatever process, whether it's a vehicle walk-around process or your internet workflow process, whatever it may or may not be, if there's not 100% buy-in from the top, it's never going to work. So dealer principals, if you're out there, if you're listening, come to the conference. You'll be blown away by how well run, how well organized, and the overall amount of content that is covered at the Internet Battle Plan.
We got to thank Ms. Ziegler for that. My wife is a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Yes, she is.
I call her my smoking hot trophy wife. She is absolutely great at putting these conferences together. The food is good. The cocktail reception. She does all of that. I do the sales. She does the physical things. We're talking about the speakers at the event. Gary Graves is from Interactive Tel. Now, I've not heard Gary before, but I've researched that company, and they have a lot to do with phone calls converted. You know who their competitors are, but I think these guys are going to be a real strong force in this thing. Eric Gale, Kerry Wise, Timmy James, of course, Tacoby, Mark Connor from Lot Links. And here's a guy we haven't talked about, Christian Jorn from Remora, a boutique website company that's really becoming a contender in a hurry. I mean, his websites are absolutely phenomenal. And he's getting a lot of the biggest companies in the country, biggest dealer companies. Christian Jorn from Remora, you're going to want to hear this guy speak. And one thing Christian's going to do, you ready for this, Laura?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to put together a Rubik's Cube on stage in less than 45 seconds.
Really?
My nephew can do that. It's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
It is so cool to see it happen because,
He just stands up and does this.
I did it once. I just took all the stickers off and put them back on. And that's the only way I can do it.
Well,
Hey,
Jim, you know what you should,
Velko just showed up.
Jim, you know what you
rehearse your name. I'm sorry. Velko.
Jim, you know what you should do
What?
is to get some good audience interaction is hand that a Rubik's Cube to one of the audience attendees and have them mix it up a little bit first. Then hand it to him, and we'll see how good he really can be with the Rubik's Cube.
No, the people in the audience mix up the cubes. No, we're not going to cheat on that. Okay, I got Caleb Evans on site here. Everybody's in it. I'm having a good time. What a great dog. I have a King Charles Cavalier too.
I know. A little girl.
Okay, CF Search Marketing. How can they get in touch with you guys?
So you can obviously go to our website, cfsearchmarketing.com, or you're welcome.
Put it on the screen.
I'll put it on. I will type it in. And you're always welcome to call. We, all of us account reps, all of our clients have direct contact to, with our have direct contact, have our cell phone numbers. So I'm going to put my cell phone number out there. You can contact me directly, or you can contact one of our sales reps by going to the website, cfsearchmarketing.com.
Okay, you're putting it in the chat box.
I'm putting it in.
Fantastic. What you got there, Craig?
This is Miss Kirsten. She is she's what we call a Borgie. She's half Border Collie and half Corgi. So.
Yeah, she looks like a happy kid.
Oh, she's great.
A Sadie in here. I've got a King Charles Cavalier. I got a Blenheim. Laura's got a black and tan there.
Say bye.
Most wonderful dogs in the world.
They are the best dogs in the world.
Hey, listen,
you gotta bring your puppy on a live broadcast one day.
I apologize for the technical errors in the beginning. That was all my fault. And I'm still learning this technology. What do you think of the technology?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's a great platform. I love that you can get, a bunch of people in on a conversation just on a whim if you wanted to. You could just go live with a thought on a moment's notice. I've done it a couple of times. Again, my public speaking thing, so it makes me nervous to do it. But I think for this kind of like a conversational thing with other people, I think it's a great thing.
Well, the public speaking thing, you get over that nervousness almost immediately. Don't ever worry about it. I think this has been great. What does the audience think over there on the sidelines? Let's hear some comments on the sidelines. Questions for Laura, questions for Craig or me. And anything we haven't covered, anything you want to cover. I think this has been great. What does the audience think of?
There's a little bit of a delay sometimes.
Yeah, there is. A little bit of a delay.
We definitely have a lot of people on this broadcast.
Jeff said, very good.
And the broadcast I did the other day with Chris Sandusky, we've already had 1,400 views on it.
That's amazing, Jim. Congratulations.
I mean, a lot of the views come after the broadcast.
Yes,
yeah, especially, people are working, running around, closing deals, assisting customers, so people get on and can watch it anytime.
And who doesn't appreciate a good dose of Chris Sandusky?
Our boy Chris.
Did you hear what I taught his daughter?
Yeah.
I would love to hear this one.
Okay, I taught his daughter to put cellophane over the toilet and then shut the seat down.
That's amazing.
Mom got on the toilet.
Poor Lisa. I'm sure Lisa loves you for that, Jim. I get the feeling there's a lot of that kind of horseplay around his house.
Yeah. Well, okay, guys, I think we just about worn out our welcome here. This was a great little broadcast.
Thanks, and Jim, so much for having us. It's a real pleasure.
Well, tell Christina and Pierre I said hello.
Great.
Absolutely. She'll see you at your conference. She'll be there.
Well, you guys are so loved and appreciated. I think these broadcasts get people's personalities in front of the dealers as much as the pure technical things in text.
100%.
Okay, well, you're welcome to come back anytime. If you want to just throw one together, call me up and say, Jim, let's get on.
Done.
Yeah, definitely. And if I hear if there's anything new and excited people need to know about really quick, I would love to do it with you. Like I said, I'm not in love with getting out there on my own, but we'll get together.
Have a good day, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks again, Jim.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Okay.